Hi, I'm Hadika, and I want to explain why, for the sake of sovereignty, the UK is stronger in the EU. Throughout the campaign, you will have heard the Vote Leave camp talk about sovereignty and how if we left the EU, we could take back control of our country. However, this is not the case. Firstly, only around 14% of the UK law comes from the EU, nowhere near the 75% Farage and the Leave campaign have you believe. And secondly, the claim that we have no control of our borders is just simply false. We still have the right to check everyone, including EU nationals who arrive in the UK. Now, before I go any further, let's take a moment to look at some of those regulations that Vote Leave claim infringe on our sovereignty. Through joint arrangements, the EU guarantees limits to all individuals on the number of hours people can work. It provides protection for people in the workplace, good working conditions, the list goes on. The European Convention of Human Rights gives everybody the right to life, right to a fair trial, bans torture, slavery, forced labour. Have we really lost our sovereignty to the EU? The UK has opt-outs of many EU policy areas: the Schengen Agreement, Economic and Monetary Union, an area of freedom, security and justice. Where the UK does have to follow the EU on areas such as environmental issues and counter-terrorism measures, they also have a lot of similar desires with other EU member states. Let's not forget, the UK does not just blindly follow EU laws and regulations. It has a strong say in determining these laws. On fighting issues like climate change and global security, the UK cannot seriously tackle these problems by isolating itself like the Vote Leave campaign would have you believe. Rather, it is through pooled sovereignty working together that we can successfully deal with these issues. The Paris Climate Conference in 2015 was mainly led by the EU working together and pooling our sovereignty to help make real progress and improvement. Another example would be tax avoidance. What do you think has a better chance of clamping down on tax avoidance? Would it be one state working on its own in isolation, or 28 member states working together? If we were to leave the EU tomorrow, there's only one thing that would be different. We would still have to follow EU rules, like Norway and Switzerland do. We would still have to pay and contribute to the EU, and we would still have to accept EU citizens living and working in the UK. The only difference would be that we would have no say over EU policy and no influence in the European Parliament. We lose in real terms sovereignty over our nation and our future. That's why, if you want the UK to be able to be a real contribution to the world and retain our sovereignty, please vote for the UK to remain in the EU. Thank you.